Hi and welcome to Cricket Happenings, everybody. This is your host Ram welcoming you to your usual edition of the Cricket Happenings show today. And as far as today's Cricket Happenings show is concerned, we are going to have a look at the third day's play in two matches. One is the match which happened between Pakistan and Sri Lanka, which was played at Abu Dhabi. Today was the third day's play, where Pakistan did a good job. As you know, Sri Lanka were all out for 419, and Pakistan finished at 266 for 4. But one thing I can tell you, that it was not very easy going. They had to really work for the run. So it was very good bowling, I thought, from the Sri Lankan bowlers to really peg the Pakistanis, I would say. Because Pakistan finished at they only added 202 runs today, starting on their overnight 64 for no loss, and they ended up at 266 for 4. I'll come back to that. And the other match, the third day's play, we are talking about South Africa versus Bangladesh, where Bangladesh, I thought, did pretty well to reach 320. And the highest score that Bangladesh has ever scored in South Africa is 326. And they really fell 6 short of that. But they had one good thing to really cheer about. Can you believe it? There is not a single Bangladeshi player who's made a century in South Africa. And leave alone that, Mominul Haq today had the proud privilege of being the highest scorer in a test match against South Africa when he scored 77 runs with 12 boundaries. He was the highest scorer today, well supported by Mahmudullah, who made 66. But the Bangladeshi bowlers in the second innings came back really hard at the South Africans, as they really put them into a bit of a trouble at 54 for 2 at close of play on the third day. So those are the two things. And also, I'll also do a brief preview of the final one-day international that is coming up between Australia and India. And this is the final one-day international. It's going to be played at the Jamta in Nagpur. We have seen that it has been a very, very low-scoring affair at Nagpur. Well, it's all about whether what Australia can do tomorrow to salvage some prestige of theirs, by whether they can win the final ODI as they did in the fourth ODI. And also, there is one more thing to it. I'm told it's a really 8 square in Nagpur, so one has to wait and watch. But I'm definitely starting off here, or rushing out to the match between Pakistan and Sri Lanka. So we are talking about day 3, where Pakistan openers Shan Masood and Sami Aslam started proceedings. They definitely put up a century partnership. So they pushed the score on to 114. And that was the time the first wicket fell, when Sami Aslam was the first victim, as Dilruwan Pereira got a ball to turn into Sami Aslam, and Sami Aslam was trapped. LBW bowled Pereira for 51, 4 boundaries. And even the other opening partner, Shan Masood, also got to a half century. He made 59 with 6 fours, as he was bowled by Rangana Herath for 59, and the score read 2 for 116. So both the openers went the hat. And after that, it really required a sort of not a repair job, but definitely someone to really stick there at the crease. And it was done very well, I thought, by Azhar Ali. Azhar Ali, one knows that he's someone who likes to stick to the crease like a leech, and that's what he precisely did. Asad Shafiq really showed that his additional responsibility as vice captain is something that he has really taken it up very nicely, as Asad Shafiq also really curbed his natural instinct to actually play the strokes by really building an innings, and that's what precisely Azhar Ali and Asad Shafiq did. They pushed on the score in a very nice manner, but it was all about even the Sri Lankan bowlers actually sticking to a very good line and giving few liberties to the Pakistani batsmen. So definitely some disciplined bowling from the Sri Lankan bowlers too, as Azhar Ali and Asad Shafiq really chiseled together a very good partnership of 79 runs that they really worked it out, and as they pushed on the score to 195. But then Rangana Herath picked up the wicket of Asad Shafiq for 39 with 4 boundaries, as Babar Azam came in and joined Azhar Ali, who was really stubborn at the crease, really just pushing and prodding and not just hitting few boundaries, 3 boundaries in his knock of 74. Babar Azam was at the other end, and Babar Azam also did the same. So Pakistani batsmen, everyone really played like a workman-like innings, what Dinesh Chandimal played for Sri Lanka in the sole manner, and Babar Azam also did the same. And we also saw some of the balls, towards the end we also saw after tea that there were certain balls which were really hitting the cracks and really turning. So that was something that Sri Lanka would be very happy about as finally Pakistan closed the day on day 3 at 266 for 4. They still have another 153 runs to actually go and reach the score that Sri Lanka has put up. With Azhar Ali was not out on a very stubborn 74 with 3 boundaries. Babar Azam was the last man to go. Babar Azam was gone on the at the stroke of close of play when Nuwan Pradeep actually picked up his wicket by getting the ball to just move a shade away, and Babar Azam nicked it into the hands of Dikwala behind the wickets. Babar Azam was a goner 28 with 2 boundaries, and Pakistan scoring 266 for 4 on the 3rd day of the first test here at the Sheikh Zayed Stadium here in Abu Dhabi. Sringal Akmal, 15 overs, 3 mains, run for 30, bowled splendidly. Vishwa Fernando, 16.4 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 44. Dilruwan Pereira, 27 overs, 7 maidens, 1 for 58, did his job perfectly. Sandakan, 26 overs, 6 minutes, none for 68. 25 overs, 2 for 6 minutes 47 for the old war horse from Sri Lanka, the spinner Ranganahara. 25 overs, 6 maidens, 47 runs and 2 wickets, and Karunaratne 3 overs, 1 maiden, none for 6. So definitely there is a lot to. So I think Pakistan had to really work hard for the runs as we approach day 4, and Pakistan would try to see that they really put up the same effort on the 4th day itself to first try to reach the score and minimize the lead so that they can put some pressure on Sri Lanka. But it's very early to say anything. One has to wait and watch as to what really comes up tomorrow. That's on the 4th day at the Sheikh Zayed Stadium in Abu Dhabi. The next match that we are looking out for is the South Africa versus Bangladesh. Bangladesh were the ones who were batting, as you would remember. They had lost. They were 127 for 3. They resumed at the overnight score with Mominul Haq at the crease and Tamim Iqbal. Well, Tamim Iqbal carried into his same aggressive self as he did the previous day, but he was a victim. He became the maiden wicket of Andy Felukavayo, as Felukavayo, as you know, was making his test debut in this match, and he was the one. Andy Felukavayo and Markram were the debutants for South Africa. So Felukavayo actually getting his maiden test wicket in the form of a very big wicket, that of Tamim Iqbal, when Tamim Iqbal nicked into the hands of de Kock behind the stumps. He was gone for 39 with 6 fours and 1 6. And now with Mominul Haq slowly doing his job that he was doing yesterday, continuing the good work, he was joined in by Mahmudullah, the experienced hand, and Mahmudullah definitely showed what experience really means, as he was not the one to really shy away from playing strokes. He really played some wonderful strokes in the company of Mominul Haq. They also gave Mominul Haq also is a very good stroke maker, as we all know, but it was a very strokeful session when these two players were at the crease, and they put on a very good partnership which yielded 69 runs to the good. From 158, they pushed on the score to 227, and it was, as I said, Mominul Haq was the one who had the proud privilege of being the highest individual scorer against South Africa in a test match. And Mominul Haq's contribution was very invaluable according to me. He made 77 with 12 boundaries before Keshav Maharaj took over. Now Keshav Maharaj was the one who was amongst the wickets. He picked up the wicket of Mominul Haq by getting him caught by Aiden Markram. He's gone for 77. Sabir Rahman joined. Sabir Rahman, well, he definitely gave good company to Mahmudullah for a brief while, contributing 30 with 4 fours and 1 6 before Sabir Rahman got a ball from Oliver, which actually lifted on him, and Sabir Rahman probably trying to leave the ball, probably in 2 minds whether to play or not to play. but in the end he realized that he was a bit too late for that, as one could hear the rattle of the timber there. Sabir Rahman was gone bowled by Olivier for 30 with 4 fours and 1 6. But Mahmudullah was still continuing what he was going, but only as far as the Bangladesh score actually went past the 300 mark. As soon as it went past the 300 mark, another wicket fell, and that was the wicket, very important wicket of Mahmudullah, who had a strokeful innings of 66 with 11 fours and 1 6, when Morkel actually castled him for 66. But after that, it was quick work as the tailenders were wiped out. Taskin Ahmed was run out on 1. Shafiul Islam was caught. Amla bowled Maharaj for 2. Mustafizur Rahman was not on 10 with 2 boundaries. And the Bangladesh were all out for 320, and thus conceding a huge lead of 170 runs to South Africa. So basically, it was, I would say, 320. So basically, we are looking at 176 runs lead, which was taken by South Africa. So it was a big lead for South Africa, no doubt about it. But still, Bangladesh, I think, still did a fairly good job of reaching 320. Morkel 90 overs, 7 maidens, 2 for 51, did his bit. Kagiso Rabada, 24 overs, 5 maidens, 84 runs and 2 wickets. Keshav Maharaj, 27.1 overs, 8 minutes, 90 runs and 3 wickets, bowled well. Oliver got a big wicket of, got a very good wicket of that of Mahmudullah. 11 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 52. He bowled Oliver 11 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 52. Philip Wayo, 6 overs, 2 minutes, 1 for 18. And Markham bowled 2 overs, none for 13. So as far as South Africa were concerned, so they were on a cushion of 176 runs lead when they started batting in the second innings. Is that two players who did very well in the first innings came in, but I can tell you today Mushfiqur Rahim started a new thing. He started with the offie Mehdi Hassan Miraz, and Mehdi Hassan Miraz, I thought he bowled a decent line today, but the first blood was drawn by the first wicket of Dean Elgar. And the first blood was drawn by Shafiul Islam. Shafiul Islam got a ball that beautifully nipped in, and Dean Elgar did not even review. He was gone LBW to Shafiul Islam for 18 with 2 boundaries. After that, Aidan Markram played a few good handsome strokes through the cover region, but then Mustafizur Rahman picked up his wicket, getting him caught by Liton Das for 15 with 2 boundaries. Made 38 for 2. And so definitely Bangladesh had done a good job there of having the South Africans at 38 for 2. And when stumps were drawn for the day, Hashim Amla was not out on 17 with 1 boundary. Bavuma was not out on 3. 54 for 2 was the tally. And one can say that, so that was it. 54 for 2 was the score. So essentially, if you look at it, the South Africans going into the 4th day were ahead by 230 runs with 8 wickets remaining. So it should be a wonderful session which is coming up tomorrow. That's on the 4th day in the morning. Mehdi Hassan Miraz, 4 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 15, did his job very well. Shafiul Islam was impressive as well, 5 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 18. Mustafizur Rahman bowled with lots of economy, 4 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 7. And Taskin Ahmed bowled 2.5 overs, no maiden, none for 14. So we are going to day 4 with the South Africans. Actually, as I said, they are really in the box seat right now. They are 230 runs ahead, and they'll be looking forward to tomorrow when they can actually build up this big lead and start putting pressure on the Bangladeshis on the 4th day itself by telling them to bat. Probably one could expect a declaration and a target of probably 400 odd could be set up for the Bangladeshis, and it will be interesting to see as to what really comes down our way on day 4 of this particular test match. And as far as the 5th ODI is concerned, it is a matter of India have already in the winning streak has already been stopped by the winning streak has already been stopped. So now it's the turn to see whether Australia can really keep up the good work that they did in the 4th ODI, and it will also be interesting to see whether India would love to do any experimentation here. But looking at the squad that is there, it seems that they're going to go with the same squad that did duty. in the fourth ODI that they lost, and the Australians will be at them. So the Australians, they would be definitely one thing I have to say about this one, but one does not know as far as Nagpur is concerned. We have seen that it has been pretty low scoring affairs at Nagpur at the Jamta Stadium. So one is waiting to watch as to what is in store, because as far as the groundsman is concerned, they say that it's a newly relayed square that has been taken. The VCA Stadium in Jamta has been a high scoring, but if you go by the recent records, probably it was we was talking about T20s, I suppose. But as far as ODIs are concerned, I do see that runs have been scored here, and the curator Pravin Hinganikar has said that one can expect some real sporting activity on this pitch at Jamta Stadium in Nagpur. So one has to really see as to what really turns out at the Jamta Stadium in Nagpur in the final one-day international. Let's have a look at the Aussies first. As far as the Aussies are concerned, I mean, we can say that they are really brimming with confidence after their recent win that they had to stop the Indians winning streak. David Warner and Aaron Finch are one of the, I always said that they are really an explosive opening pair, and if both get going, sparks will really fly, and that's what has been precisely happening. Stephen Smith, always a very good contributor. Glenn Maxwell was left off. Whether Travis Head will still play or Glenn Maxwell is going to be coming into the team, it's going to be interesting to see, as probably the Australians are going with the bit of confidence. Peter Hanscom is the one who would be doing the job of actually reining in the innings. Marcus Stoinis would also do, but Marcus Stoinis is someone we have seen that when the time comes, he is also someone sort of a person who really likes to stay at the wicket, but when the time comes, he definitely can explode. Matthew Wade is also expected to score something if at all he gets an opportunity, and the bowling will be in the hands of Pat Cummins, Kane Richardson, Adam Zampa, the leg spinner, and Nathan Coulter-Nile. Again, there will be probably the battle between Adam Zampa and Hardik Pandya is going to be really interesting. Pat Cummins, Nathan Coulter-Nile, Kane Richardson have been doing a fine job, I thought, for the Aussies in the previous match as well. So it's all about really seeing as to how they perform on that particular day, which is tomorrow against the Aussies at the Jamta Stadium in Nagpur. As far as the Indians are concerned, Rohit Sharma and Ajinkya Rahane, well, they are also, again, the Indian opening pair is also not far behind the Aussies, because Rohit Sharma and Ajinkya Rahane have been doing a fairly good job, and Rohit Sharma has been getting those big sixes out, and Ajinkya Rahane has been playing with that finesse that he's known for. Virat Kohli is always someone who is a dangerous customer for the Aussies, and whether tomorrow whether India will do an experiment here, because Kedar Jadhav played a fine hand, whether they would be prompted to bring in KL Rahul as an experimentation, one has to wait and watch. Dhoni will be keeping the wickets as usual, and Dhoni is always someone who is always a great contributor. Hardik Pandya is someone who India always looks out for now to bring up the goods, because he is someone who is another X factor for India. The bowling, Mohammad Shami and Umesh Yadav would be well aware that they could not really control the Aussies, whether this would be a pitch where they would be in a position to do so. They would have learned some hard lessons, I reckon, and there might be something new that they would like to bring about tomorrow. Akshar Patel, the spin would be in the hands of Akshar Patel, Kuldeep Yadav or Yuzvendra Chahal. One has to wait and watch whether Akshar Patel will be considered. Well, dear fans, friends, subscribers, there's nothing else to really talk about. It has been a real pleasure dwelling on this cricket happening show today. Hope you all loved this cricket broadcast of mine, and it's about time for me to wind up on this daily cricket show by promising you that I'll be once again back with you all, dear friends and subscribers, to wax eloquent on the goings on that would happen tomorrow in the cricketing world. That is definitely We are looking at the 4 days play with Bangladesh and South Africa. It's going to get really interesting. Even Pakistan and Sri Lanka is also something which is looking good right now. It is all about the Pakistan batting as to how they really go about their task tomorrow to reach the Sri Lankan score of 419. Well, dear fans and subscribers, enough said here, and it's about time for me to wind up on this cricket show by saying goodbye.